Hey guys, welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles! In the last episode, we started the trial for the very last adventure of the first game of adventures, and we cross-examined the Skulkin brothers. Now, their testimony led to some very serious implications, and those implications lead us to this summation examination right now. The jurors have contentions, so we're gonna listen to them. Let's go.
All the evidence clearly points the finger of guilt at this young pickpocketanian.
As a housemaid, I should like to see all filthy eyes so promptly and rigorously eliminated. I think you'll find that if you look at the photograph in stereo, the truth will just pop up.
If I have left it in there, I should think there'll be repercussions by now.
Mind made me. Stop. Global radio transmission of verdict to follow. Stop.
In motherland, we say never judge by clothes, judge by head. I am convinced brothers are innocent.
The circumstance of the crime and the evidence do indeed implicate the defendant rather comprehensively.
A storeroom locked from the inside, in which the victim and the accused were discovered alone. And in the accused's hands, the fatal revolver, the firing of which was heard by these witnesses.
Not to mention this print.
Take it from a chap who's seen action on the battlefield. That young girl's on the verge of pulling the belly trigger.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Sholmes. Oh dear, Hurley's camera was supposed to help, not hinder. I'm afraid I think you have an uphill struggle ahead of you. But Gina didn't shoot Mr. Windybank. Which means there's more to this situation that we've waited to see. Agreed. You have the floor, counsel. Proceed with the summation examination. The defense's rebuttal. Let's go.
All the evidence clearly points the finger of guilt at this young pickpocketanian.
Okay, pickpocketanian, whatever that is. You're Mr. Nuttimus' landlord, Mr. Garrideb, aren't you? We really must stop meeting like this.
Oh, you're that lawyer chap. Well, there's a turn-up for the books.
Yes, rather turbulent time we had back then. Some extraordinary events took place at your house, that's for sure. Luckily, Mr. Sholmes and I were able to get to the bottom of it all. I think we did rather a lot for you, didn't we? I mean, obviously. I wouldn't be suggesting that therefore you should change your leaning to not guilty or anything.
Can't be denied, I suppose. The cause of the Garrideb house was the talk of the town after that business. Well, just moved out and I couldn't get a bally soul to take up the tenancies. Oh, haven't had the heart to break the news to Joni yet, but enough that the old girl's clapped up. Yes, can't be denied. You did rather a lot, but not for us, that's for the dashed certain.
I suppose not.
Of course, there can be no suggestion of that being the reason I'm leaning towards the guilty here, obviously.
Obviously, but honestly, I really wish he'd pay more attention to the trial and less to juror number 2. As a housemaid, I should like to see all filthy hours promptly and rigorously eliminated.
Hold it!
Polishing the bench, I see. Again? A maid's work is never done. Not a blemish must remain. What exactly do you mean by filthy eyesores? On my way to market for his lordship, I have to pass through the East End. The place is full of beggars, pickpursers, and crossmen. The scum of the earth. A little harsh, perhaps? Let me be plain. If it were up to me, all those backslums would be made spick and span or eradicated. At least we have people like the great detective working to achieve these important goals. You're referring to Mr. Herlock Sholmes. That's right. I like to keep abreast of his exploits by reading Rand's magazine in between my duties. He does wonders cleaning up London streets. In my opinion, he should be declared an honorary maid of the capital.
Mr. Shawns, a maid?
It's really quite unforgivable. Gutter scum having the audacity to shoot our very greatest detective.
Minor detail, it was the two brothers in the stand who shot Mr. Shawns, not the defendant.
A minor detail indeed. They're all gutter scum as far as I'm concerned.
Well, it just might be an idea to get our facts straight anyway.
Yes, alright. I shall amend my statement.
Uh-huh.
Those brothers are the scum of the earth. They should swing for shooting the great detective.
Hold it! I agree with you. The shooting of Mr. Shawns was an unforgivable act. But the purpose of this trial is to determine who shot the pawnbroker, Mr. Windybank.
I'm afraid you're splitting hairs, sir.
Sorry?
Whether it was the thieves or the pickpurse, it was still gutter trash that shot the pawnbroker in the end. Filth that should be cleaned up and eradicated, in my considered opinion.
Thanks so much for sharing. Changing this maid's mind isn't going to be easy.
Runa, it was one of those two brothers that shot early, wasn't it?
Yes, without question.
Well then, I'll never forgive them.
Oh, Iris.
Perhaps we can use the maid's statement to help us somehow, do you think?
Yes, maybe. Let's listen carefully to what each juror has to say first. I think you'll find that if you look at the photograph in stereo, the truth will just pop out. Hold it! Okay. What do you mean, look at the photograph in stereo?
Sorry, what? Don't you know? If you look at the photographic print normally, it looks as though the pickpocket girl is about to shoot the victim, obviously.
Objection! But there's no indication that the defendant ever fired the gun.
All I'm saying is that if you look at the same print in stereo, it could reveal all sorts of new information.
By any chance, are you a fan of stereoscopes?
Oh, how did you know?
Let's call it a lucky guess.
I never gets old, seeing the two prints merge into one before your eyes. It's extraordinary, it's captivating, it's the height of modernity.
Of course.
Oh yes, I think you'll find the stereoscope here is here to stay. Giving us new perspectives we could only dream of before. It's the greatest invention of the world has ever seen.
If only it could give me a new perspective in this case, I might agree with you. If I have left it in there, I should think there have been repercussions by now. Hold it! What exactly have you been muttering about all this time, sir? You keep talking about having left something somewhere or something like that.
So sorry. As you can probably tell, I'm a surgeon.
A surgeon? That totally passed me by.
Of course, people conducting surgery in this country aren't considered to be doctors. Oh no. Even though me and my kind are at the forefront of medical science, the real brains in the field.
So, what is it that you think you've left behind?
Well, that's a little embarrassing, to be honest. You see, I was operating on someone yesterday. Standard thing, went in through the abdomen. But when I'd finished the procedure, I couldn't find my scalpel anywhere.
What? Did he? Surely not.
Exactly. Surely not. You say to yourself, don't you worrying, isn't it? That's what's been troubling me this whole time. Could I really have left my scalpel inside the fellow's belly? No, of course I couldn't. So, there you have it. Like I said, a little embarrassing, really.
That's one way of putting it. The other is manslaughter.
That's exactly my concern, and seeing as this case appears to be all but soon up, I need to focus on trying to remember exactly what I've seen up elsewhere. Now, I'm sure I made sure everything was back as it should be. Well, as sure as you can be without being sure.
I'm sure you need to be more sure.
Mind made up. Stop. Global radiation transmission of verdict to follow. Stop.
Hold it! Sorry, radio transmission? What do you mean?
Are you from the Far East? Stop.
Yes, from the Empire of Japan.
All communication with Far Eastern nations used to take place by mail. Royal Mail steamers take more than a month to complete the journey. Ah, but now we have the electric telegram, so we can send messages using electrical signals. Thousands of miles of cables have been laid along the ocean beds, connecting the entire world.
Thousands of miles of cable? On the ocean bed? It makes my head hurt just thinking about it.
You're well informed, young lady. But the cables will soon become a thing of the past. Stop.
And just when I was starting to catch up.
Radio transmission of the future. Stop. Messages carried over airwaves to four corners of the globe. Stop. Excitement growing. Stop. Atmosphere electric. Stop.
Right. Try not to wear out your fingers.
Era of wireless telegraphy. Stop. Arriving technology revolution. Stop. And people say inventions like the stereoscope are the height of technology. What utter piffle. I can't understand it. I really can't. They're just silly toys.
Alright. So, let's pursue. Juror number 3. Sorry to interrupt when you're obviously fuming, but...
What?
Do you perhaps have something to say about juror number 5's last remark? As if I couldn't guess.
Oh, you bet I do. Say that again. Go on. I dare you.
Goodness, are you talking to me?
I think it just might be, yes?
You think stereoscopes are just toys, do you, huh?
Absolutely, I mean, really? A machine to view photographs in 3 dimensions? Why on earth would you not just use your eyes to look at the world around you? It's all 3-dimensional.
What a great way to appease the man.
No, I'm sorry. Stereoscopes are of no particular use at all.
You just don't know.
Pardon?
I think you'll find the viewing of a photograph through a stereoscope can unlock all sorts of possibilities. I'm obviously going to have to demonstrate.
What sort of possibilities?
Well, take a crime scene for example. If you had a pair of photographs from a crime scene that you could view through a stereoscope, it could reveal hidden clues you'd never even noticed before.
What?
Have you got any, Runa? Any prints we could look at with a stereoscope?
Well, how about this print here? It should do the trick, I think. We do have this, right? So let's present that. Alright then, juror number 3. Are you saying you can do this with any 2 suitable photographic prints?
Of course I can.
Very well then, I'd like you to demonstrate.
I'd be delighted to.
Oh, we need another one then. But unfortunately, we don't have another one.
Take that!
Can we? Wait, sorry? What do you mean, one more print?
Oh dear, don't you have these in the Far East? Don't you know how a stereoscope works?
Runa?
What?
You need 2 photographs for a stereoscope, remember?
Yeah, that's true.
You know, one for the left and one for the right.
Oh yes, I remember now. But the print we have from the pawnbroker is just a normal photograph.
No. I think you'll find that the clue is in the name. It's a stereoscope, not a monoscope. You always need 2 prints.
Thanks for the friendly explanation.
Well, if we obtain another print at some point later in the trial, we can always show it to this young man then. Ha!
I think you'll find that know-it-all expression is really starting to annoy me. Let's get things back on track, shall we, Counsel? Well, that is unfortunate. Okay, so we had him. Okay, so... Oops, that was the wrong button. We're gonna press. And we're gonna skip all of this. Because we already read it.
I can't understand it. I really can't. There's just silly toys.
Yeah, don't spare any feelings, will you? It's not like there's anyone here who likes stereoscopes. So, why exactly do you think that the defendant is guilty?
It's quite simple. We haven't been shown a scrap of evidence to suggest that she isn't the culprit. And just as radio waves dash through the skies faster than the eye can see, so we should dash to the conclusion of this trial and stop pandering to indecisions.
So that means... Okay, so, in motherland we say never judge by clothes, judge by head. I am convinced brothers are innocent. So we're gonna press him, of course. Please tell me you're not Wylan Bolshevik, the Russian revolutionary.
Revolutionary?
Duh, I believe there is such a rumor. It's just a rumor? As you see, I have unfortunate appearance. I look like a vicious criminal. Your words, not mine. Just want to point that out. People call me revolutionary, murderer, autocrat.
And which glove fits?
Good day, I am visiting London for sightseeing. I would like to take bus to Crystal Tower, please. Right, that didn't sound staged at all. You'll forgive me for having my doubts. To be treated like vicious criminal all the time, it is very painful. People do not realize. So I have much sympathies for these brothers. People say they are criminals only because of how they look.
The Skulkin brothers?
Duh, maybe they went inside pawnbroker's shop, but they have done nothing wrong. That is all what I want to say.
The Skulkin brothers did nothing wrong that night. Alright, well, first of all, that's one not so little misunderstanding I'll need to clear up straight away. Tell me something, Iris. What is it, Bruno? The jurors are chosen at random from the inhabitants of London town, aren't they? Yes, it's amazing, isn't it? In that case, how is that there's a Russian tourist sitting among them who looks for all the world like a revolutionary? I wish I knew. If I can't change the minds of more than half of these 6 jurors, the trial will be over. Well, we know that Ginny would never shoot anyone. Yes, so we need to find contradictions in what these jurors are saying and pit them against each other. Must be ready to go to whatever lengths I have to convince them of Gina's innocence. Alright, so... that means... Okay, so we can't pit him. Or we can't even... So we can... Oh, that is really unfortunate. Clearly points the finger at this young pink... So these two do fit together, don't they, actually? They do fit together because he says all the evidence clearly points the finger of guilt at this young pickpocket Tien. In Motherland we say never judge by clothes, judge by head. I'm convinced brothers are innocent. So these would fit together. Although these two fit together way better, don't they? And these two... wait a second. So we could also pit these two together, can't we? No, we can't really. What about him? So we're actually going to give this a try because I think that he
and her
Objection!
do fit very well together. Those two statements clearly contradict each other.
Good lord! Counsel, explain yourself. Oh, my statement contradictory?
Contradict. C-O-N. Juror number 6, you've got the wrong end of the stick. I do not have stick. I have mouse. As juror number 2 said earlier, when the Skulking brothers fled the scene of the night in question, they fired a shot from their revolver.
Yes, they shot poor Mr. Sholmes in the abdomen, I understand.
Surely you're not going to tell the court now that you didn't hear. Abdomen, A-B-D. Sir? Sorry, my English is still learning. You are telling the court you didn't hear. Forgive me, I did not hear. Oh, here is word. Abdomen, part of person's body containing stomach and other vital organs. If this is what you mean, you should say in plain English, I am Russian, not native speaker. Who thought it was a good idea to let this man be on the jury again? So, you are telling me these brothers who look like criminals were lying. They said before we never done nothing, but truth is they shot detective, da? This is double negative.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Lying is wrong, especially when lie is said by a person who looks like criminal. Coming from you, that seems surprisingly prejudiced. This means, when they said we never took nothing, maybe it was also a big fat lie. Is this true?
Well, according to the police report, no stolen goods were found, so...
Enough! I trust no one now.
It's not the mouse's fault, though, sir.
I must see with his own eyes. I must investigate crime scene myself.
I'm afraid there won't be... Yes, it is, Runo. Easily.
Sorry?
Well, the prints from Hurley's red-handed recorder. Ah, if you compare the print that pictures Ginny and the next print from half an hour later, you'll be able to see straight away if anything was taken or not. Cooey, Cooey, Mr. Prosecutor.
Tut. Calling on the prosecution in the middle of a summation examination of all time. The print showing the accused threatening the victim after she broke into the shop is this one. Following this, the victim and the accused moved into the storeroom. Meanwhile, the Skulking brothers entered the shop and summarily heard the fatal gunshot ring out. Sadly, none of these events were captured on film. This is the print produced by the camera half an hour later after the brothers' flight.
So this was taken after Hurley was shot then, as far as I can tell? Nothing has been taken.
That does seem to be the case. Can't notice anything that's obviously missing in the second print. So, the brothers who look like criminals told only one lie. They shot men, but they stole nothing. It would seem so, yes. Good. No, not good. You were right. I did not understood situation. Now I know brothers have lied. I think it is very important to continue this trial.
Yay! Well done, Runo. The balance is shifting.
Well, it's a start, I suppose. But there must be more in what these jurors are saying that I can use to expose the truth. And if I can do that, we just might turn this situation to our favor still.
Thank you, Counsel. Continue with the summation examination.
And kindly hand that new photographic print to the bailiff to be filed as evidence. The post-shooting photograph has been entered in the court record. Another print in the court record. I wonder if we can make use of that. Okay, so that means that we can. So we have to press her again, and then we pursue the third juror with a stereoscope. So now we look around again, and then we pursue. And since we have read this dialogue already, we're just gonna skip it all. Yes, absolutely. We do have 2 prints there. So this is the first one.
Take that!
And we also had this dialogue, which is why we can skip it. And then we're gonna give him this one.
Take that!
Alright, these 2 prints were both taken with the same camera in Winniebanks on the night in question. Yes, I see. Tell me, Mr. Lawyer. Do you know how stereographic images work? Do you understand the principle? Well, I think so. I did have a lesson only yesterday. The left and right eye images need to be the same, only with a slight shift in the position of some objects. Then, when your brain merges the 2 images together, inside your head it notices a shift as it would in death. Yes, exactly!
It's that small shift between certain objects in the 2 pictures that's really important.
So what happens if you use 2 photographs that are exactly the same then? No, obviously that wouldn't work at all. Not for seeing a scene 3-dimensionally anyway.
Oh! Of course, now I see!
Oh, I think the young girl has discovered the secret.
I have!
The way she's cross-eyed, so cute. Can you uncross your eyes before you tell me? No, please don't, that's so cute.
Have another look at these 2 pictures from Hurley's camera, Runa. Go on!
Alright.
Can you see that there's really obvious difference between them?
I'm giving it a try right now. I can't manage to pull it off though.
Oh, can you see that there's a real obvious difference between them?
Of course there is. There are 2 people in the first and no people in the second.
Well, yes, you can see that straight away. But now, try looking at the pictures in 3 dimensions.
Alright, I'll give it a go. So to start with, you have to cross your eyes and then try to make the 2 pictures overlap exactly. Okay, now I see. So, let's see if by crossing my eyes I can make the quill pens from each other picture overlap in the middle. Wait.
Well, did you manage to see it properly, Runa?
I think I saw it, although I didn't really manage to do it. Ah! What's going on with these 2 pictures? Some of the things on the counter sort of jump out at you. Yes, that's it, you see? That's the other amazing power of stereoscope. Other amazing power? Is something going to explain this? Black magic, huh? Why the deuce do some of the things on the counter seem to jump out at you like that, huh? Think you'll find that if you consider the basic principle of the stereoscope, you'll answer your own question.
Basic principles of the stereoscope?
As I said before, if you try to look at the two identical pictures using a stereoscope, it won't work at all. It's a slight shift in the position of certain objects that lets you see pictures three-dimensionally. In other words, even though at first glance it seems the objects on the counter haven't moved at all between the two pictures, yes, they have. You can see by the legs from her, okay. This shows there must have been a slight shift in their positions.
Yes, there must have been.
No, hold fire there, sir. Got a reasonable grasp of this whole cross-eyed business now, I'd say. But why the devil does the shift between the two prints exist in the first place? Well, what's the answer, fellow? Come on, you're the cross-eyed master. What? Me? I haven't the first idea.
You know, Runo, it's quite simple.
It is?
Just think it through step by step. The first photograph was taken at 1 a.m. Then, 30 minutes later, the second photograph was taken. But the position of some items on the counter appears to have shifted slightly in the interim. So that means...
That means that sometime in the half-hour interval, someone must have tampered with the things on the counter. Zukas! Someone tampered? New information!
Stop! You mentioned testimony so far. Stop!
Yes, we've had to go around in circles a little here, it seems. But I'm starting to see what I should be aiming at in the summation examination now. Ladies and gentlemen, the question now is clear. We know the items on the countertop were moved, but by whom? Are you suggesting you might know? Of course. I can tell you right now who is responsible for the almost imperceptible shift in the items on the counter. And that must be the two brothers, right?
Take that!
It was the witnesses currently in the stand, the Skulking brothers. Wait, this does not agree with what brothers said in testimony before. They said they did not even have time to pull dukes from Lucy lockets. My phrasebook says dukes is meaning hands and Lucy lockets is meaning pockets. But is this another lie? Is this what you are saying? Yes, I'm afraid so. No, hold on there a minute. You can't be sure of that.
You quite agree. The accused is a common pick purse, after all. It's perfectly possible that she went through the things on the desk to see what she might steal.
I think that's unlikely. And why exactly? As you can see from this photographic print, the defendant was pointing a gun at the victim. It would seem, as my learned friend indicated, that she was coercing Mr. Windybank to open the storeroom door. In other words, Miss Lestrade's interests lay within the storeroom, not in the main shop, giving her no reason to touch anything on the counter. All of which points to one thing. The Skulking brothers have omitted key facts in their testimony.
But the accused is a pick purse, common gutter trash. Why look any further for the wrongdoer here?
Because the Skulking brothers are the thieves, madam. No better, in fact worse, than a pick purse. I believe that these brothers were looking for something on the victim's counter that night. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, if you would condemn the defendant on the grounds that she's a pickpocket, would it not at least be right and proper to thoroughly scrutinize testimony given against her by two thieves?
Well said. I, for one, would like to hear more from that shady pair.
Why does he use his head?
Can you all see now? I think you'll find stereoscopes aren't playthings. You've seen their extraordinary potential firsthand.
Wholeheartedly agree, stop. Must purchase after trial, stop. Will return home via Regent Street, stop.
Well, it would seem this trial has yet to run its course. The ladies and gentlemen of the jury have declared their inclination via the mighty scales of justice. I hereby call the summation examination to conclusion with the balance altered in the defendant's favor. 2 lean to guilty, 4 lean to not guilty. Accordingly, the jury is without consensus. and I order this trial to continue.
Yay! Well done! Oh, by the way,
What?
you should hold on to this, Runa. You never know when it might come in useful.
Twice in one trial would be unusual, surely, but alright. The stereoscope has been entered into the court record. Lord Van Zieks, you will instruct the witnesses that the court demands additional testimony from them.
I'm sure it won't spoil the bouquet to do so, my lord.
I've won myself another chance to probe that pair about their activities that night at least. And I won't stop probing them until I've proven that Gina is innocent. Well, we finally did it again, guys. We swayed the jury. That is a perfect opportunity to end this episode of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. If you want to see how things unfold further, you'll have to tune in next time.
See you then.